Hello friends and welcome to TechPromen. Friends, today in this video I am going to cover about domains, registering a domain and how to point it to a hosting provider. So stay tuned on this channel and let's make the camera rolling. Hey, when we talk about domain, do you find a simple question, what is a domain? Okay, just to simply answer this question, it is a logical name just like your name to some IP or some website. That's what a domain is called. Now, in other words, in technical terminology, it is called an FQDN, that is a fully qualified domain name. So, if you type www.techpromen.com, that's a fully qualified domain name, and techpromen.com is domain name or domain. Now, to further cover the topics about domain and how to register a domain from a domain registrar and to point it to the hosting provider, let's see my screen recording. I have taken an example of one of a domain registrar. I am not promoting them or I am not actually paid for this, but it's just an example from where I have taken the domain and I have registered a domain. I will take a sample of one of my domains which I recently registered and I will let you know how to point it to a hosting provider. Now, before we start or before we jump into this topic, let me make you aware about what is a hosting provider and what is hosting. Hosting goes by its name. It is to host. That means to provide an environment where the domain can reside or the domain can point to, and the website can be uploaded or the website can reside at that place. Now, these are being done by the hosting providers. They have their own data centers, they have their own cloud hosting services and everything, and they have their facilities in place to make this possible. Now, as a frontliner or to the viewers, what we see is we take a domain, we go to the domain registrar, we purchase that domain, that comes into our account, and if he is also a hosting provider, he provides us an hosting. What goes into the backend, that will continue further, but since I was covering hosting provider, let me tell you one more thing. Once the domain is pointed and you have an account as the hosting provider, they will provide you a login details and they will provide you details like name servers. Now, these name servers are something which are like pointers. That means they are the authorities or SOA, start of authority, wherein whenever a domain is searched, they go to the respective domain name and then from the root domain to the name servers. I have another video on my playlist or on my uploaded videos to better understand how this DNS works. Now, once this IP is resolved, the website is called from that IP. Apart from that, how to make this happen, I will show you that in this tutorial. Okay, so are you ready for that? And let's make the screen captures running right behind here. So here you are able to see my dashboard, that is my domain registrar, and you can see the couple of domains that I have registered. These are the domains that are there into my account. Now, to search a domain, we go to the domain name search. I'll let you know from the beginning how I procure. Type the domain name that you wish, say for example techpromen.in, which I am willing to purchase, say for example, and make a search. It will give you the result whether that domain is available or not. Let's wait for the results. Okay, it's available and the price is there. Now, once you click add to cart, it gets added to your cart. You make the payment and the domain then comes into your dashboard. The dashboard that was visible earlier was showing techpromen.com. That means I have purchased that and it is now available into my account and it's available with me. Okay, so we go back to the dashboard and see what all domains are available, and I will show you how to point it to a hosting provider. Go back to the dashboard and you can notice that I have a couple of domains lying here. One of them is mine, and we click on manage. Now, on manage, you can point it to the hosting provider, which hosting provider name servers have been provided. In order to do that, you notice the name servers, that is the basic DNS down there in the line. You click on it and you find that custom DNS can be done. Now, when you make a custom DNS, that means you have a domain registrar and you are asking the domain registrar that point my domain to this hosting provider. Okay, here are the names wherein you can add the name servers. There are generally 2 name servers which are required. These name servers will be provided by the hosting provider when you create an account with the hosting provider. I'll cover up how to get that hosting provider names and what all configurations are done there. I'll show you the glimpse of that as well. But for now on, let's assume some domain name. Rather, let me put a actual name over here. That's this ns1.bubblevps.com and ns2 also. These are the actual DNS servers which are existing. Once you click on the save button, it gets saved. The domain names are covered, and if you right now I'll click on cancel. Let's click cancel and go back to the dashboard. We'll go back to the dashboard and I'll show you the domain, recent domain which I have changed the pointing to. I'll take up this domain, and here in the management section you can see that custom DNS is selected and the domain name servers are already added. I hope you can see the dashboard. This means that this domain is residing at so and so name servers and the website is residing at the hosting provider provided DNS names. Now when you click that www.domain.com, you will be able to see the website which will be rendered or hosted on that hosting provider. So this is how the linkage works. So you are aware about the linkage. I have covered the topic of domains, the domain registration, how to configure a custom DNS on the domain, and how to point it to a hosting provider. Now before I jump on to the next topic or I cover further into the videos, let me tell you something, that whenever you want to take in hosting, if your DNS registrar is not the hosting provider, you select any other hosting provider, you go to this website, you check the plans for shared hosting, VPS hosting, dedicated server hosting, cloud hosting. These are the various types of hosting that you can avail. Okay, now say for example the simplest one, I'll take a shared web hosting. Then you see the plans of the shared web hosting, you select your plan which fits your or which suits your requirements, that is the amount of email address that you want, the amount of disk space that you want. All this are the parameters for website hosting or the web hosting or the shared web hosting. Now once you select that plan and once you create an account or you registered with the hosting provider, what that hosting provider does is it creates an account for you, for your domain rather, by which you have registered, and it in turn it sends you an email to your registered email address with the details like the name server details, the login details, the URL by which you can access the panel, and the credentials, that is the username and the password to access your account. Now I will be covering right now the cPanel hosting for an example and for an easy understanding, and it would be a CentOS or a similar Linux flavor, open source flavor, and I would be covering from the part wherein I have already received hosting providers credentials. That means my account credentials are already there with me, and I'll directly enter the credentials to get to the login screen. I'll show you the login screen on the screen recording, and then from there I'll just show you that if you are just making a new website, make it like a under construction web page and just upload it, and you can see that. So let's see that screen recording, and then I'll again come back to have face-to-face conversation with you. Here we go. This is the login screen. I have requested a cPanel and a shared web hosting, and this is the URL that was provided to me by the service provider. Over here I would use the username and the password or the credentials that were provided by him to avail my account, and this is the same username and password that I had created for that account which I managed, and I pointed to this provider. Okay, so let's enter it. Let me type it and let me check. Oh, I did some mistake in the credentials. Let me have the correct credentials, and I'll show you the login, the panel or the dashboard or the landing page. Now a couple of things. These are the themes that are selected by me. So there can be different views or different kind of themes that are available with different hosting providers. Over here you can see many such features and different methods in order to manage your site. This is probably what you can have as your site management. From the file manager, say for example, you can upload your files which are relevant for your site into the public HTML folder, and your site is up and running, and you can serve or you can render your site from this directly. So this is all taken care by the hosting provider or the services that are provided by hosting provider. There is one more thing, there is a site publisher. If you are new to this and you want that your one pager site under construction is there, which I have just selected right now over here for my site, you can select it, and then you can customize and publish. So these are the various templates that are available there, and these are available with many providers. And if you want a subdomain or any other domains, you have selected multi domains, then you can select your domains over here, and then select the action for the template. That means by selecting a template, then that particular domain or the site will serve this templates. This is just for the beginners, wherein you can just select a one pager and make your site up and running in mere just a couple of clicks. But for advanced users, there are many features. There are databases wherein you can access your PHP MyAdmin, you can access your MySQL databases, you can create your SQL databases, you can use your redirects, you can use your add-on domains, subdomains, anything. You can create your email accounts. If you have an organization behind your domain, then you can create your email accounts. You can be an admin, you can create email accounts, and you can provide to your employees. Okay, so these are like features which generally a hosting provider provides. There are other security features, there are softwares which you can update or install. Then there are spectacular apps installers wherein you can install WordPress, Joomla, any software you take. There is a Dolphin software, anything that you like. And couple of things like there are backend things which are going on once you create your site. So you create an account, you have your space there, whether it be a shared hosting or a VPS hosting. So all in all, I would like to say that these are the views that you can have as a viewer. Okay, before I jump into my concluding session, I want to clarify some things about cloud hosting, the shared hosting and everything, the jargons that I just uttered during the tutorial, at the start of the tutorial. Now, cloud hosting, the buzzword that is going on right now, has multiple things underneath. That means it can also be a part like a shared web hosting, it can also be a VPS hosting, it can also be a dedicated hosting. But the cloud infrastructure is what makes a cloud hosting. And the cloud infrastructure is known for its high availability and horizontal scalability. That means you have resources which are under a same orchestrator, and they are being managed by that orchestrator across different locations. That means you have resources in X location, you have resources in Y location, all them are clubbed as one pool, and the orchestrator manages that pool. That means the scalability and everything is managed by that orchestrator. The request that comes, or you as a customer doing a request, or me as a client availing your website by typing www.yourdomainname.com, that request will land on that front-ending part. That front-ending part will do the traffic routing and will fetch the request from the correct resource which is available under its resource pool. That's what actually the cloud infrastructure means. There is much more to this, and there is much more in depth to this cloud infrastructure, but I am not covering that. I am just giving a glimpse, just in a human understandable or a layman understandable form. But if you go into the depth, there are many things that will come under this cloud infrastructure, the cloud network and everything. Okay, so I hope this clears out your the buzzword regarding the cloud hosting providers. So this is, I would say, what is happening in the foreground, or you as a customer being able to see whatever I have just displayed. I am thinking and I am planning to make a video on the behind the scenes things. That means when you create or when you avail account or a plan you have selected, and what happens, how the account is created. I'll probably make a video on manual creation of the account, and we'll try to demonstrate that and see how that tutorial works. So that would be my next video. I am planning for that video, but for now I am done with my tutorial. I hope you like this tutorial. If you like it, do give me a like, hit me up in my comments box if you have any queries, and until next video, bye bye.